Welcome back, guys, to your favorite podcast, favorite sports podcast as well. Clocks on the Stove. Your usual host, myself, Grayson Fisher, with me, Mr. Zach Watts, holding it down in South Florida. With us, someone we've been trying to get on for a while. I'm going to correct me if I'm wrong, but played at University of Chicago, then played at UPenn, and now works in the Rays front office or like in the Rays organization. Correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Sam Bennett. Sam, thanks for coming and joining us, man.
Dude, thanks for having me on. I'm glad we got this lined up here. And yeah, I'm pumped to talk some baseball.
Dude, what a big week for the Sam Bennett brand, bro. Like, Sam Bennett's are killing it this week, dude.
Dude, the amount of texts that I got, and I'm not a big golf guy at all,
Yeah, I'm not a
but the
golf
amount
guy
of
either.
texts I had to go and watch what this kid was doing at the Masters. He played really well. I think he was a low amateur actually.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Um,
Dude, did you see he won like $216,000 in earnings and he can't touch it because he's an amateur?
I did not see that. That's pretty
Can't
cool.
touch it, bro. That's not cool at all. That sucks.
I mean, yeah, but yeah,
Well,
no, that does suck. But I did see that right after he won the Masters, he's going back to A&M and he's playing like 36 holes, or he already played 36
yeah,
holes,
and I,
and
I
he has
heard
to
that his like
walk the
his
whole course.
no way.
Yeah, yeah, something
I
like
heard that
that.
his NIL deals like just skyrocketed after.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Why wouldn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, you also look at another college kid who withdrew from the Masters. Not only was able to play the Masters, played the first day, withdrew so he could pitch for TCU on Friday.
Wait, what? Who's this?
His name is I'll pull up his name. I just have to
How
look up.
how long ago was this?
I saw that.
No
I mean, this is
way.
this is Friday night of the Masters. He
Oh,
literally
this
pitched.
was this year?
Yeah, this was this
No
year.
way. I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, no, because TCU posted about it. He would, yeah, Will Zalatoris. He actually went to Wake first, then left to go to TCU, was pitching there, was doing so good in golf that he was like, I'm just gonna go, play on the Masters, like play on the tour. And then didn't have like a great first round, but you're at the Masters, so who cares? Like, and then just withdrew
Yeah.
and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go pitch Division One baseball game the next day. Like just flew back to TCU to pitch at home. So I mean, shout out to that guy.
That's
Probably won't get the
hard.
recognition. Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough just to play baseball
I
and
hope
golf.
I hope you got some butt out of that, dude, because that's hard.
I mean, I don't
TCU's
know, man.
nice too, right? They're pretty solid at baseball.
Um, I don't know about this year. I feel like I'm
Yeah, this
pretty
year
much.
I don't think that they're in the top 10 this year.
Well,
But honestly,
program
I mean,
wise, usually, right? Because they're a team in Texas. They can't be terrible.
yeah, they're like pretty well regarded every year. But yeah, great for that kid. That is, I don't think that anyone else has ever done that before.
I mean,
Could you? I don't think you could do that with any other like two sports, right? Like you couldn't play an NFL game and then go play in the NBA. Like that could never. And like hockey, like you could never
I
do that
mean,
either.
Deion Sanders left a playoff game. Like the moment the Yankees won, he took a flight to Atlanta to play in a break. Or not, sorry, Yankees to the Falcons. So he literally left the Yankees game. It was a postseason game because kind of their postseason carries over to ours. So he leaves his postseason game, flies straight to Atlanta, returns a punt return for a touchdown. Literally,
No
not even,
way. I didn't know that.
dude.
He did do that.
Yeah, he's literally the greatest athlete of all time besides Bo. I mean, Bo Jackson probably just wakes up and does any amount of sporting in his life. Like, who knows what that man does on a day-to-day basis? Well, not anymore, but
All
I
right, now
mean,
how accurate is this? I heard that Michael Jordan wasn't that good at baseball. He was just like way more athletic than everyone at the time. That's I now look, I have no idea. That's why I'm asking you guys. That's what I was informed.
I've heard similar things. I honestly haven't seen a ton of his baseball video, but obviously, like incredibly talented. And the fact that he just got up like to play in the big leagues is a feat in and of itself. But yeah, I think I'm not sure how great he was on the
I
field.
mean, let me put it this way: if you have your own movie, Space Jam, and you're starring in it, would you portray yourself as a shitty baseball player? Because that's what he did. I mean, that's what he did. He kind of wasn't like, "Oh my god, I was a stud and double A man." Like, nah, he was like, "Yeah, I suck." Like they told me the pitches. Like, bro, like come on, man. Like, dude, if I was a minor league catcher and Michael Jordan stepped into the box, I'd be like, dude, fastball's coming dead red.
I'm throwing it as hard as I fucking can.
Yeah, like, hey man, if I like let you know the pitches, like maybe we go shoot around a golf, we gamble a little, give me some courtside tickets. Like, hey, I'm just saying,
Yo,
I raise your batting
you
average.
guarantee me 30 that my parlay hits next week. Like, we're cool, bro.
Yeah, but like I'll let you know whatever you want. He's like, I'll call time, I'll get the pitcher all rattled. He's like, I'll literally do whatever it takes.
But now on the other end, Bo Jackson was actually that guy, though, right? Like he was like very good at baseball.
He was that guy. Yeah, he's unbelievably talented. Like when I think of Bo Jackson, like that one play where he just like runs up the outfield wall and like kind of does like a little, you know what I'm talking about? Where
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And he's also like 240 pounds when he does it.
yes,
yeah. So I have two funny stories about Bo Jackson. The first one, my uncle actually committed to play baseball at Auburn, ended up being the backup center fielder because a man named Bo Jackson committed to Auburn and started above him. So he never got a chance to see the field at Auburn. And then when a scout showed up to watch Bo Jackson in college, he watched him in the batting cage, and in his first swing, he knocked down the batting cage. He hit the piping and just knocked over the batting cage, and he just tipped his cap. He's like, "Thank you for your time," and just left. Immediately went to the scout and was like, "I saw I needed to see it." He's like, "We have to take this man like first overall. Like it doesn't matter. Like, he's just the biggest man ever." And I think he's the only man to ever break a bat over his head, which the bat may have already been broken, but still.
Either way, dude.
Yeah, I can't even do that shit over my knee. So I'm not trying it over
I can
my head.
barely swing a baseball bat, dude. He's
harder than it looks.
His head. Yeah, I did. Bro, so Zach and I this summer we ran all the media for a summer league baseball team in
Which
South
one?
Florida. The West Palm Knights.
West Palm Beach Knights. Yeah, South Florida Collegiate Baseball League is the name of.
So we grinded, bro. Like we went to every game. We ran all their socials. We commentated. Like we ran media for a college team, and it was sick. I don't know. Oh yeah. So all the guys would like Zach would go out there and like fuck around with them because Zach played baseball before. I've never played baseball a day in my life. So they'd always be like, "Yo, go in the batting cages," and I'm like, "Yo, Zach, if they see me swing this bat, they're gonna lose all respect for me as a man." Like I cannot. I denied it every time. Zach's like, "Dude, just do one." I was like, "There's no fucking way I'm going in there and swinging that bat, dude." They're never gonna talk to me again.
Yeah,
dude, summer ball is something else. It is wild. I don't know the experience that you guys had there, but summer ball, there's some wild shit that goes on in summer ball. Like things that like you'd never expect in your whole life. I remember there's this one kid who went to Chicago with me, and he was like super into media. Like he was like a journalism guy. And one summer, somewhere in like the middle of like BFB Midwest, I don't know what league it was, but they ran out of pitching, and he was doing like basically what you guys were doing, running all the media and socials, and he was commentating. He was in the middle of a broadcast for a game, and they ran out of pitching, and they're like, "Hey bro, like can you throw?" They were like, "Call the bullpen upstairs." And he came down and he threw an inning. That is the epitome of summer baseball. Yeah, you got to look this kid up. I forget what his name is, but yes, it was everywhere.
Oh, dude, he had to be so hyped.
Oh my god,
so hyped.
Yeah,
dude, I was so pissed because I would literally bother because the coach's name was Sam at the time. I told him every day, I was like, dude, you need an outfielder or a pitcher like for an inning. I was like, I got it in the tank. Like I was like, you have no need to worry about that. I was like, I can go an inning or two, but that was one of the few summer ball teams where like things actually like panned out over the season. It was the only weird thing about it was I had never seen kids get traded during summer ball, and we traded like 5 kids.
Yeah, they got traded.
We were trading kids.
Yeah, we were trading kids because like the whole league was owned by one guy. Like it was kind of just like assorting players to teams. And then we were just like, oh, this team like needs some outfielders. So they would just like take guys off our roster, and we'd see them like playing against each other. We're like, dude, what is going on here? Like this is not what summer ball is like envisioned to be.
Hilarious. Oh my gosh.
What I thought was really cool about summer ball is like we'd have some kids in our team that are like, dude, this kid is like disgusting. Like we had kids that played at Campbell. We have a kid that was a D2 All-American 2-time, like nasty kids. And then on the same team would be like a kid that I think I could have played as badass. Like it on the same team. And like we would go out, and depending on which lineup we threw, we were the best team in the league or we were dog shit. Like we didn't have any like 500 games. Like we beat all the top ranked teams, and all the shitty teams beat us. because on the rotations we had playing those games. And it was
Yeah.
so crazy to me to watch because I was like, if we played this same team with our like best guys, we dog them.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
my personal experience with summer ball, I kind of interested to hear about yours, Sam. But for me, I was always the like summer ball all-star. Like for some reason in season, what like always struggling like at some point in the year when it came to summer ball, and I just had like we'd get in the wood bat tournaments, batting like 480 for the tournament, like getting nominated for like player of the tournament, like don't know why. And then I get to the season, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna carry over and be really good. And then it's like, up, I suck again. So like wait around the truth. But when you played summer ball, first, I'm kind of interested. What position did you play?
I was a pitcher.
Oh, you were a pitcher. Did you bat in high
Yeah.
school?
No, I was actually so bad at batting that they used to DH for me so I could play the outfield. What Julian? So you remember Julian, Grayson?
Yeah,
Julian. Well, Julian could swing it a little bit, but Julian on the days he would pitch, they were like, "Fuck, we don't have like a good outfielder. We're gonna have to stick Sam's ass out in the outfield." But that means that Julian has to hit while he pitches. So they used to DH for me because I was that bad at hitting, even in high school. And I was like screw it. I'm never touching it. I should never touch a bat. I should only step foot on a mound. So yeah, I literally haven't hit since like freshman or sophomore year of high school.
You had to enjoy taking BP though. Like you had to have. Like every PO loves the
Oh
BP.
yeah, like big leg kicks. There was a BP in high school where like there was bets on if I could put one out at some point during the year. And I think like one person bet on me. And there was one BP where I got into one and I like it was like a wall scraper, but it got out and I was going crazy. It was awesome.
See, our experience was so before our high school built our field, which I'll get into our field in a minute. We played at a little league field, so it was like $300 all around. And for high school, that's like you're literally at the Little League World Series again. Everyone's just hitting bombs. And then
Yeah.
when we build our high school field and we put a football field and center, so our dimensions were 310 down the line, 435 to the gap, 365 to center, 440, 450 to right center, and then 310 down the line again. So you have
Did you go to Key West?
Dude, we actually played in Key West, and that was like
that's like what their field.
No, he went to Carroll Day School with me.
No.
Oh yes, okay, yeah. It's like the same dimensions. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So when it's actually funny when we played Key West because every spring break you have like your baseball trip where we go play. We went down to Key West to play like Marathon, Key West, like with all those teams. And when we pulled up to Key West Field, like teams think they have the advantage because like, oh, it's our home field. We know how to play it. We probably played their field better than they knew how to play it. Like we knew all where to stand in the gaps. Like we knew how to not give up extra base hits. It was a great experience.
No one went yard though. I don't think no one hit a home run at CDS.
Frank had an inside the Parker just because
but I mean no one took it out though.
No, I mean
Rodrigo took it out in BP, but no one's like in a game.
Oh, I've seen plenty of people take it out in BP like that.
Yeah.
You get into
no one in a game. It's dude, it's like so dumb they did that. It's like it looks aesthetically cool, but like it's not baseball. Like high school baseball. I want to see home runs.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I know at Jesuit, like they hit some pretty good bombs because when we played you guys in fall ball a good amount, like you had guys constantly committed D1, like just drop nukes all over the
Jesuit,
place.
The Jesuit, what's it called? Jesuit field's nice, but when my dad played there, he said it was like a shithole. And the outfield used to be parking for like Bucks games and like stuff like that. So there'd be like beer cans and like broken glass in the outfield. Like my dad said it was such a shitty field. Like they would get sued today. He goes, but they rocked that home field advantage so hard over everyone they played.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, when we played Sefner Christian, their outfield grass was like a fairway for a golf course. It was terrible. Like I couldn't tell you.
Sefner was one of the worst schools that I remember their field. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's just like out in the middle of BFE, the most country place. And then it was worse, but then when we got there, they're like, oh, let's just put fairway grass everywhere. So like anytime you try to like pivot and take off in the outfield, you just tore up a bunch of sod and then didn't go anywhere. So it was like, I don't really understand the point of having to do maintenance every 2.5 weeks. Like maybe just give us the little like things they fill in divots for, like if you're going to do that. But
yeah.
How's the Berkeley field, Sam?
It's gotten a lot nicer. It's really nice.
When I was there, it was kind of ass. They kind of just like built the baseball and the softball and like pushed it away.
Yeah, they've really built it up recently, especially since like Jesuits redone their fields. And
So
once
Berkeley has
like
to redo their field.
Coach Warren came over to Berkeley, he was pretty on top of like look good, feel good, play good. Really good at recruiting players, and part of that is having nice uniforms and like having a well maintained field and like setting a higher like bar. So I credit that a lot to Warren. But yeah, it's a lot nicer now.
Yeah, bro. All the Jesuit goats are at Berkeley now. Sile and Warren. Crazy.
Yeah,
Warren
yeah,
got there our freshman year, right?
yeah. Our freshman year, he
So
got there.
here's a crazy story. I don't know if you know the reason, like why he got fired and everything. Um, anyways, they when they won states they had brought up 11 JV kids when they won that state title our eighth grade year. They literally won states with the JV team. But states finals was after the last exam, so school was over. So they did the ring ceremony the next fall, which was like on my first day at Jesuit. And like the whole team goes out, and then Warren comes out, and everyone gives him a standing ovation. And then when he goes to get the ring from the AD, everyone starts booing the AD. Like the
Really,
whole school, bro. It was crazy. And I was like, it's my first day at Jesuit. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, this is sick. And then like, yeah, he built like that culture. I mean, like all of Berkeley's athletics are the best they've ever been. They're finally like starting to care about it, I feel. But so he came into freshman year. Who was the coach before him?
it's Houston.
Houston, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, also we had
yeah.
JT Quinn on. He said he paid mad props to you. I forgot to tell you about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
JT. I love JT. He's crushing at Ole Miss
He's a
right now.
dog, dude. Yeah, kid's a
I
dog.
know. I'm super excited for him, and he's got a long future in baseball that I'm very I very much look forward to following. But oh, dude, his fastball's electric, and he just flat out shoves. He
Yeah.
shoves.
So
Yeah.
What's it called? Real quick, going back to that, what was it like with Warren? Like how did you like having Warren? Obviously he's a great coach, but like what were the things he did and stuff that you thought made him like even better?
Um. I don't know. I connected with him really well. He set a super high standard and didn't like tolerate any bullshit, which I really appreciated. The first few years, or my freshman and sophomore year, um, we weren't as good, and like that culture wasn't necessarily built up yet. And there was some growing pains for sure. Um, but when he started getting some of his guys in, and like he was around there a little bit more, and we went through a few hell weeks, and basically went through some bad losses, and like um, we realized that like that is not okay, like to have happen. And like I attribute him setting like the bar higher. But man, what a hell of a coach! And he surrounds himself with really good people, really good coaching staff. Jeff Karsten's there; he's the pitching coach, and he is a huge mentor to me. So shout out Jeff. Still communicate with him today. He's yeah, again, great mentor. But yeah, just Warren set a really high bar and brought in really good people, and recruited really well. So he just did all emphasize doing all the little things right. And once you kind of win baseball games and like you realize that it's fun to win baseball games, it kind of like you catch fire a little bit, and it kind of just keeps rolling, especially when you get the right people at the top to keep it going. And that's what we've had happen. So
yeah, I mean, dude, I always felt bad for my like high school coaching like relationships specifically because we kind of all came to CDS under a coach named Nick Rodriguez, and we had a great relationship with him. All the players loved him. He kind of like set everyone in line, do the little things right, very fundamental practices, stuff like that. And then our going into our senior year, he had to leave because he got presented a better job opportunity to go be the head of school at I think
Some tiny ass
and
school.
yeah, some tiny school in Brandon, but like the pay was better, so we completely understood. He had one of those like bring us all into a room and like explain to us like what he was doing. So like we understood why he did it. It's just hard to see him leave like that. And then of course the first year he leaves, we make our states run and we go like 25-4. And then it was so weird because our practices that next year, we had like all seniors. We didn't even really like practice. It was the same thing every time. You do your basic IO and then we just take BP for an hour and a half. Like it was such a joke. But like I feel
yeah,
like having a good coach can instill like so much in you, especially if the relationship you keep with them post high school career. Like they can teach you so much, not just as a baseball player, but as like a human being that like you'll never forget those lessons for the rest of your life. Um,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on from a not so serious note, we were talking about Berkeley a little bit, and I can't help but to brag when we talk about Berkeley because every time I pitched against Berkeley, I never gave up any runs. I think through all 4 years, never gave up a run. I think I had like a no hitter going through 5 one time against them. They just could not hit me. Were there any teams that you faced in high school that you just dominated every time you faced, or you just like love pitching at their field?
Zach just shot shots at Berkeley right there.
I mean, I dominated them. I ran the table on Berkeley. Like it wasn't
Berkeley
even
always beat CDS like 1-0, 2-0. Like it was always
every
super
year.
close game.
Even our 25-4 year, dude, we lost to
Like 1-0, but they threw Bosnick, right?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
a 1-0 or no, we lost 3-2. We lost to Berkeley twice, or yeah, we beat them actually one time in the IMG tournament. So we finally split with them. We lost to them once, and then when Calvary was the #1 team in the nation, we took them to extra innings and lost.
You were one bad toss to first base away from beating Calvary.
Bro, Sam, top of the sixth.
I remember hearing about that game.
Dude, top of the sixth, we're beating them. I think they had second and third. PFP right back to our pitcher. Our pitcher just shits the bed, short arms, throws it to first. Our first baseman just like couldn't pick it. It was such a bad short hop. Gets away, 2-run score. They take the lead going into the seventh.
That's game, bro. That's game. If you make that play, that's game. You guys break the Calvary streak.
Oh, dude, I will never.
Sam, that game was Friday night, and none of them went to school Monday. None of them.
That's crazy.
So such a moral defeat. But yeah, back to the question. What are some of the, I guess, your best performances against in high school? What fields did you like pitching up the most?
I like pitching at home, definitely. Teams that I love to face. I loved facing Tampa Catholic. Tampa Catholic. I don't know what it was like freshman year. Like I just like everyone always said Tampa Prep was Berkeley's like rival, but I like in my head it's always been Tampa Catholic. I know it's like the
TC and
Jesuit.
Berkeley are like they're TC and Berkeley are low key heated rivals because they're the two best teams in the district in like every sport. So like I've always thought that too. I feel bad for TC though because everyone just hates them. Like
Yeah, everyone
hates them and
hates
Berkeley hates them.
Yeah, I remember throwing against them. I had some good games against them. Actually, against I think it was CDS, my first start senior year. I think I went 7 no hit, and it was 0-0. And I got taken out after the 7th because my first start of the year. I remember that one was pretty good. Yeah, no, I had a pretty decent senior year. But a lot of that was taking on innings after Julian got hurt because he tore his UCL in preseason. So I had to eat a lot of innings. But no, there are definitely some good memories. A lot of them with TC and a lot of them in regionals and stuff in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like most high school teams, especially now compared to like when we were there, like I remember growing up, I would go to the TC Jesuit games when Lance McCullers was still there, and it would be a sold out, like packed crowd, like insane. And then like when I got to high school, I was like, this isn't actually like that big, or maybe I've just like grown into it or seen bigger crowds or something. But then like now that I've left, like how Grace was mentioning earlier, like none of the guys on our team hit any home runs. They're like almost half the kids on our high school team have bombs. Like every time I scroll on Twitter, it's like Tampa Bay area talking about how like, oh, this kid would like had 2 bombs in a game. I'm like, dude, what are these high school kids eating? Like, what regiments have they been put on since leaving? Because like we surely didn't get any of that luck at all.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. The kids now, I'm like, I started looking at these Instagram videos or like some of the perfect game highlights. I'm like, they're like, oh, like 560-foot home run by class of 2034. Like first baseman Bopper. I'm like, where the hell are these kids coming from? But yeah, it's just every year it seems like the talent level gets better and better, especially around this area. It's really fun baseball.
It's something in the milk, dude. It's gotta be. It's gotta be something in the milk.
Something different in the water around here. I don't know. I'm telling you.
Or like in Dominican, like their water's gotta be great because they're fucking producing.
They're producing.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I spent one summer training with Jose Fernandez as coach and a bunch of the guys that they had literally brought up from the Dominican and Puerto Rico to like train in the States.
They were like our age.
yeah, that could like try to get contracts. Dude, they're out there throwing softballs like 200 feet long toss and then pumping like 96 gas and like doing so many drills. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, I was like,
You're
first of
like,
all,
I'm never playing in the MLB.
yeah, I was like, you're not 13, you're 27. I'm not stupid. Like, I know better than that. But kind of shifting away from the high school experience, kind of want to get into your college journey. How was your recruiting process like moving from high school to college? Were a lot of schools talking to you? Was it kind of just like you found the lucky one at the right time? Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, I had no schools talking to me. I wanted to play college baseball, but no one wanted me to play for their college baseball team. Like going into my junior year. I love baseball more than anything, but man, I was small. I wasn't throwing very hard, and I didn't throw very many strikes. Um, what I wanted throughout like the recruiting process was to use baseball as a means to get into a better academic school that I couldn't get into otherwise. Maybe I could, maybe I couldn't, but baseball was just going to lock a spot in for me at like a high academic caliber school. And that's kind of where my head was going through the recruiting process. Um, I went to a few recruiting camps, different showcases and stuff. Didn't turn too many heads. Again, was like super small junior year. Didn't hit my growth spurt until like senior year. But I performed really well at University of Chicago baseball camp. They pretty much immediately offered me whatever that means for like a D3
Yeah.
academic school. I don't even think I was technically a recruited athlete. They like get a few spots to push through. They're like, yeah, we'll push you through, but like I guess technically on paper you're not a recruited athlete. I was like, all right, can you get me in or not? And they're like, sure. As soon as that happens, I start hitting a growth spurt. Julian tore his UCL, and they gave me 71 innings my senior year of high school. I think I had a one around right around a one or a sub one ERA and just shoved. I had like close to 100 strikeouts and was like upper 80s, touching 90. Where I was like, oh shit, like I could potentially go play somewhere a little bigger. And I think a lot of it was mental for me too. Just like some of the showcases, like you're on the mound, you're like right there, and like you see guys holding the radar gun up and like their notepads and stuff. And I'm like, fuck, if I don't throw a strike right here, like it's gonna screw up my college recruiting experience. And yeah, a lot of it was probably very mental for me. So once I didn't have to worry about recruiting stuff, like I could just go throw and compete, which is the reason that I like baseball in the first place, because all the extra bullshit is like other stuff. But at the end of the day, baseball is like me versus you in the box. Like, let's go compete. So I think that like really helped me my senior year of high school. I go to U Chicago freshman year. I think I led the team in innings. I split the me and my freshman roommate. He was way better than I was. His name is Kyle Petrie. He's still playing. Um, he's really good. He actually transferred as well out of U Chicago, except he went to UVA. He had a little bit of a like longer path. He went to UVA and then he went to SDSU, and now he's somewhere else. But I think he led Division III in strikeouts. So we had a really talented crew at U Chicago. A lot of kids who hit their growth spurt late. Very similar story. But I kind of had in the back of my mind that I wanted to go play somewhere bigger. Wanted to test out playing Division I baseball. Entered the transfer portal like right at the onset of COVID. After I had a few good starts my sophomore year. Actually, Coach Warren reached out to the Penn guys for me. He had a connection to them. And sent them some video, threw for them, and kind of the rest is history. Made the transition over there, and definitely was the right decision. Definitely don't regret it.
Did you ever meet Anthony Artolona when you were at UPenn?
I did not. Is he one of the wrestling guys?
Yeah, he went to Tampa Prep. I used to wrestle with him like my whole life.
I've heard the name. I never crossed paths with him. A lot of it was like all like very much like just like baseball group, especially like my first year, like in COVID, we really just didn't see anybody else. But yeah, I've heard the name before, just haven't met him.
Dude, you got to tell me how you adjusted going from Tampa to Chicago, because my personal experience was I kind of was in the same boat where I wasn't getting looked at by any schools, went to a camp at the University of North Alabama and was told by the coach that like I was going to get a scholarship from them or at the least preferred walk on. So I was like, all right, it was a school that was transitioning from a Division 2 to Division 1. So I was like, oh, it's like my only like Division 1 look. I'm gonna put all my eggs in this basket and try to go. Ends up they don't have enough spots because I think when you transition, you like your scholarships get cut in half. So like you're even like in a worse boat. So they kind of were like, we ended up finding another JUCO transfer. Like, we're sorry. Like, this was literally, I think, like 2-3 weeks out from like signing day. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to play baseball. My coach calls me. He's like, do you want to go play at the school called Guilford College? And I was like, what? And he was like, it's a small D3 school in ODAC in North Carolina. He goes, do you want to play baseball or not? And I was like, screw it. At the time, I was like, it's all I wanted to do. Dude, I hated the cold more than anything in my life. And that was North Carolina. It was the first time I'd ever seen snow. It wasn't even like that cold compared to like Chicago. How did you not only like first get to campus and get used to the weather? How did you even play baseball there to begin with? Because I feel like that adjustment to cold weather just did not cut it for me.
Yeah, it was an adjustment and a half, 100%. Grew up playing baseball, obviously, here my entire life. I'd been up north a few times. I have some family in Chicago, which was part of the decision to go up there in the first place. But man, it's fucking cold up there, especially like right on the lake, the wind chill coming off the lake. It's something that you really never get adjusted to. I remember my first start was in Indiana. It was 7 degrees. I remember warming up in like a ski jacket and like ski gloves and like trying to get my heart rate up. I got out on the mound, like I couldn't feel the ball. And like I have this thing where like I don't care if it's 110 degrees or if it's like 0 degrees. I like wear the same like 3/4 like cut off shirt underneath, and that's what I did. And I couldn't feel the baseball. I walked like 7 in like 2 innings, and it was a horrible start. But I yes, it was an adjustment, and I had to get used to it for sure. But man, the cold is tough. It's definitely nice to get a change of scenery. I'm happy to be back here now. But something that I knew that I wanted to kind of go away for college and experience that at least a little bit. And it makes you have a greater appreciation when you come back down here, like spring and summer roll around, and you see the sun a little bit more for sure.
I mean, dude, I couldn't stand it. I wasn't there for too long just because like the adjustment was a little too hard for me, and like obviously not starting right away, like kind of messing with your mental. I felt like I had to do a little more growing up to do if I wanted to play college baseball. And it was also like, why am I in North Carolina at a D3 school not starting when I could literally be at Florida Atlantic on the beach every day? Like at least like enjoying my college experience. So that was kind of like a big reason for me to kind of just get out of that scene. But you make your change from Chicago to UPenn. What was kind of like the biggest differences in, I guess, not only the team, but like facilities, environment? Because I feel like for me, showing up at a D3 school, like you see the fields and like, well, this isn't well kept. Like you expect like tarp out on the field every day, like perfect field conditions, like batting cages, nutrition, stuff like that. What was kind of like the biggest change between that?
Yeah, I have a lot of stories. At Chicago, I mean, I great people. Coach Fitzgerald, who recruited me, big fan of his. I haven't stayed in touch with him really after I made the move, but I'm a very big fan. A lot of the guys there as well, I loved. But some of like the D3 environment stuff, at least at Chicago, was a little brutal. I remember, I think that one of the games somewhere in like Iowa or Kentucky or something, we pull up to the field, and after like an 8 hour bus ride, and I think like our bus broke down in the middle of getting there or something, just like classic D3 shit.
Classic.
And we get there to the field, and there's like an 8U soccer game going on in center field, and like we're like, what is going on? And there just was no communication that there was an 8U soccer game, but there was also a college baseball game scheduled to play at the exact same time. So I remember being like, well, what the hell? And like that, I think that was like the first moment I was like, this is interesting for sure. There's like some other things like that, facilities and like just food and like stuff, like different perks that you don't necessarily get as an athlete that like I kind of put in my head that you may. Um, at Penn, it was definitely a jump in terms of facilities, culture, like standards that you're held to as a student athlete, which I really enjoyed. but it's the same thing. It's like the grass is always greener. My best friends at Penn, they always shit on Penn. They're like, yeah, we don't get like good enough food. Like, look at like these ACC and SEC schools, and now a lot of them are there and like are enjoying that treatment. But there are levels up to everything, and I was really happy to get some of that Division I treatment. But yes, the grass is always greener.
Dude,
You know, it's something my cousin, he played D1 baseball. And I remember when I was hanging out, he was like probably 6 or 7 years older than me. And then I remember I was hanging out with him right before I went to Jesuit, and I was like tweaking about wrestling at Jesuit because I was like, yo, this is like fucking super like you said, it's like very prestigious, you know? Like if you make the lineup at Jesuit, like, you know, that's very like it's an honor, like it's like a fraternity. And he was like, dude, I played in middle school, high school, I played a little like pro, little, I played D1. He goes, the stadiums get bigger and the noise gets louder because at the end of the day, you're playing the exact same game. He goes, the circle's the exact same size it was when you were 8 years old versus now. He's like, he goes, the ref's going to be the same guy. You know, the colors don't change. Like, you're doing the same thing. And he goes, and once you realize that, like, it takes so much pressure off. And I've always thought about that, about like so many different things in life ever since he told me that. You know, you make it so
Yeah,
much bigger in our head than it is. But like, at the end of the day,
a
you're
100%.
still playing baseball, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the same game. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. You build it up in your head, and I certainly do as much as anyone does. I remember we opened at Texas A&M last year. They went to the College World Series last year, and they made a pretty deep run. They were good. We went down there and we took 2 of 3 from them, and I remember thinking like in my head like, holy shit, like this is SEC baseball, and like 5,000 people here, and they're loud, and this is a pretty cool atmosphere. And last year I was in Iowa getting kicked off the field by some 8-year-old soccer kids. Some soccer mom and her Honda just kicked me off the field. And I remember standing on the mound and like thinking for a second, like it's the exact same thing. Like it's just that a little bit bigger, but like I built it up so much in my head, which was, yeah, it's funny when you come to terms with that and you realize things like that. One other funny story from that weekend, we played a weekend series, so down at their place at A&M, and I have a Snapchat story that just came up in February that I saved. It was like me and all my buddies, we had locker room at 3 a.m. because we had a flight to go to Midway to Houston. Then we got on a bus in Houston and drove to College Station. It was a journey and a half, especially with like taking 35 kids and like bags and everything. And it's not a close trip, but like it was a long journey. We got up at like 2:15 in the morning, and we had practice at 8 p.m. Thursday night at A&M's field. Everyone was dead tired, like so tired, and it was actually kind of cold there. We practiced till like 10 o'clock at night. Everyone's exhausted. We're getting ready to start a 3-game set there. And we're having our meeting in the dugout, and like no one's there right after practice. And I don't know who came up. It wasn't their AD, but it was someone like with baseball facilities. And they were like, oh, can you guys tarp the field for us actually? Like not our field, like their field after a long ass day of travel. And we were just exhausted, and we got so mad. We played with the biggest chip on our shoulder that entire weekend. And I baseball's weird sometimes, but yeah, I that sticks out to me. And just the fact that we took 2 out of 3 from them, and they went on to have a good season was pretty cool.
Was there a shit ton of people there? Because I know SEC loves their baseball.
Yeah, there was. We played at some weird times because I think Saturday got rained out, but on Sunday, the first Sunday game, it was packed. It was rocking. It was a little cold there, so I don't know if like as many people showed up, but it's still like 5,000 plus. It was a lot.
I mean, y'all talked a little bit about how it's still the same game throughout the levels, but I feel like when I got to college, I tried to walk on the field with that mentality. And it wasn't until my first inter squad AB, I'm facing the kid who this year was the closer for Team Italy, who was on our D3 team for some reason. And first pitch was like 92 inside corner. And I was like, this is not high school. I was like, this is indeed not high school baseball anymore.
No,
And
like
then
in that aspect, yes, it's like the kids are better. Yes, 100%. But there's nothing different about the game of baseball. Like it's still the same game.
yeah, the mistake I would say the
They're just
biggest
throwing
change.
cheddar.
Yeah, the biggest change in the game is the speed picks up a little, and the margin of error is very minuscule. Because
Yeah.
like I remember in high school, you could walk up to the plate or like you get on the mound, and you would 9 times out of 10 you're expecting a first pitch fastball. In college, I feel like the pitch repertoire, like understanding batters, scouting, suddenly like takes such a huge leap. Like I remember looking at like our like pitching reports for like the other team, and I was like, dude, what? Like I don't even like care. Like I was like, I'm just gonna go up there and throw fastballs. Like what's the worst that can happen? But you look, I feel like when I first showed up to college, and because I was a two at the time, they were like, oh, you don't have like a third, like you don't have like a solidified second and third pitch that you can trust in any count. And I was like, no. And then they're like, oh, well, good luck getting on the mound this year. And I was like, well, thanks. But I mean, I feel like that's just kind of the, I don't know how it was for you, Sam, when you
Well,
got there.
one thing Jack Anderson said that was like the hardest was like the pitch discipline. He's like when
Mhm.
you're in high school, you can if you're like tired or like you're like not feeling your five and you can get away just being better than kids and just throwing something down the middle. He's like in college, you do that one time and you get lazy on one pitch, it's gone. You know, that's what he was saying to us. He was like that was the biggest difference for him. Like he had to tighten up on every single pitch had to be his best pitch.
Now, Sam, I'm not too familiar with your pitch repertoire, so I'm kind of interested to see what you kind of had in your arsenal. But what was kind of your biggest jump from, I guess, discipline or any of the aspects that we mentioned as you moved from like high school to college on the mound?
Yeah, I would say the game definitely does speed up on you a little bit. And that is one of the things that you have to take a step back and be like, okay, like I'm here for a reason. Um, Trust your shit and um, just play like the exact same game, like Grayson was saying. Um, One of the things for me was understanding like what pitches I threw really well, and that I didn't necessarily need to have like show like a decent third pitch. So like senior year. So I guess my progression was a little different. Um, so I get to Penn junior year, and all of COVID, I'm training. I was like 205 pounds, like just literally trying to throw as hard as I can. I went to Tread Athletics, trying to like go play pro ball, um, trying to spin the hell out of my curveball and light my fastball up, which was super effective. I hit like 94, 95, but that's all great in a lab. Step on the mound and go do it and go throw strikes is a lot different, which is something that you don't necessarily realize until you're not pitching anymore because you're not throwing strikes. They gave me an opportunity to start right out of the gate at Penn. We had our season canceled because of COVID. We were the only Division One
Ivy fucked
conference.
everything.
Yeah, I mean it's just something that like happens, and you just gotta kind of roll with the punches.
Yeah.
But we were lucky enough to play 14 games in my junior year. So we played some like just local competition. Villanova, LaSalle. LaSalle's my least favorite baseball team ever because I played the worst against them that I've ever played. I remember I like got there. I didn't know any of my teammates. Um, Obviously, like during COVID, we couldn't really interact a ton, and like they didn't really know who I was, and a lot of it is individualized. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like in high school, like if you have a bad outing, there's not a ton of other options. Like they're gonna keep giving you the ball and they're gonna keep trusting you, and you know that they're gonna keep doing that. When you don't perform at the college level, they pass the baton very quickly. Baseball is a what have you done for me lately game, especially at the college level. And if you don't understand that, or you're not able to make the mental adjustment to kind of get on board with the reality that is, then you're not going to pitch at that level, which is something that took me a little while to learn. So I was throwing really hard my junior year, but didn't command it for strikes. I was spraying it. I was super wild. I walked more people than I've ever walked in my whole life. Like was a mental like head case on the mound. And I remember it was literally just like two starts, and then I got shipped off to summer ball. And like that kind of sat with them, and I kind of got pushed to the pen. But once you kind of like realize, at least in college for me, the individual part really sucked. Like playing for yourself, and guys deal with that at pro ball too. Like there's no incentive for you to like win a college World Series in pro ball. Like who cares if you win like the low A, like I don't know, Florida Golf League championship? No one really cares. Like everyone's playing for themselves. But at the college level, it's kind of the last level where you're playing like in a team setting, and like you have more people to account for than just like performing for yourself. So once I kind of understood that, I had a much better senior year, and didn't necessarily like think that I had to throw really hard, or spin the ball crazy. I just knew that I had to go and throw strikes and throw my best shit in, like whatever count it got called, and just go compete. And that was probably the biggest difference.
Yeah, well, also in college, like you're like like you said in the pros, you're kind of just playing until you can make it, and then you're just playing for money basically. In college, like you're still playing for like a college World Series, you're still playing for like a legacy, you're representing all the like old UPenn guys that played there. You know what I mean? Like an Ivy League title. Like
Oh yeah,
there's more of a team build. Like, and you know you're there for 3 years. Like versus in the pro, you kind of want to just play for a contract. You know, like yeah, you want to win, but like Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout obviously you don't give a fuck because they're making bills on bills.
exactly. That's one of the hardest things in baseball today is aligning incentives to try and win over 162 games. You saw in the WBC, so many more of these like Latin guys. They look like they're like so much happier playing for their country and trying to win a WBC trophy than they are in the middle of June when they're 13 games under 500, and like they've already made their bag.
Yeah. I think that's what annoyed me the most. Like kind of as the World Baseball Classic was ongoing and like more people started to pitch their like opinions on it. I could not stand it. People were saying like, oh, like these are just like meaningless exhibition games. You're not really playing for anything. I'm like, dude, like the World Baseball Classic, like championship average like 72 to 74 million viewers. Like
Yeah,
people
no,
want
that's
to
a
watch this.
huge honor. If you win that, like you win that for your country, that is a huge
Yeah,
honor
you're the you're the best baseball country in the world
in the world.
until the next 4 years, which
Yeah.
I was kind of like talking about this on our other social medias because I wanted to just kind of pitch the idea out there. And I don't know if you think this is stupid, Sam, but I'm interested to hear your opinion. I was thinking since we only do the World Baseball Classic every 4 years, why not set up exhibition like games between like your spring training squads in America and just go play the international teams over there? Like go play a Korean baseball league team like during spring training, like work it out. Maybe go here 1 year, maybe there the next. I know money is always the biggest influence in all this
But
stuff.
that would
So
make money.
exactly, like in my opinion, I feel like that would sell a lot of people, even though it is spring training. But like you can get at least a couple starters out there to show, like at least market your talent to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like
You could sell
maybe,
that. That's marketable.
yeah. I feel like what hurts the MLB today the most is kind of like the
Sam's got some
TV.
front office ideas that he's about to
Oh,
say.
oh yeah.
My head's in a different spot. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
worried about my guy, like our guy's health. We just lost Springs today for I don't know how long.
Oh, I know.
So that is one of the things. One of the things that upset me about the WBC this year is like not upset me, but like I do like the FIFA World Cup is there. Like everything else is below
Yeah.
it. And like people play for that. Um, it does suck when guys are building up innings in spring and they have to stay out there longer, or they can't go back to back outings because they're not built up to that yet, or there's like there's just again like there's mismatch of incentives that a lot of people don't realize, and like just things that have to happen. I felt bad for Mark DeRosa managing the U.S. team. His hands were tied a lot in terms of what he could do with like bullpen usage and guys that had to get innings, but they were throwing badly or something like that. And then how many guys declined playing on certain teams because their teams, one, didn't want them to. Two, one of the Dodger shortstop, when Gavin Lux tore his ACL, I think it was one of the guys, I forget who it was, but he was going to go to the WBC, but he stayed to play, continue the spring with the Dodgers because he's going to get a bigger role this year, and they thought that was in his best interest. So I think it is really good for baseball to have something like this. a better way to have it, I'm not necessarily sure. And I'm not faulting teams or the WBC for like the way it is right now. But a lot of people don't realize that there are like limits on certain things that can happen. And I do think that it waters it down, but I think it's great for baseball. I was actually happy that Japan won. I saw that there's like a million, or there are millions of viewers from there. And anything that grows the game, like I'm all for it. So I do definitely think that this year it did grow the game. And it's something cool to have in the spring as well.
Well, it's cool
Yeah.
too because there's very few sports you can do that with. Like soccer, you can do it with, I guess, wrestling, fucking baseball, but like maybe hockey. Like there's not a lot of sports you can do it with that many, and at that level where everyone's good too. That's what's really cool about it. But one thing that I always say why I like college football more than I like professional football is because they're playing for like a legacy and they're playing for like honor and like for like love. That's like the last level of love. And then when they go pro, it's like a little like we just talked about. It's more contract. The WBC had MLB caliber guys playing with the love of high school and college teams. So I think that was really cool to see too, like them really caring and like really wanting to win and represent their country well, rather than just like you said, my team sucks ass. I don't really care to play anymore. I'm getting paid.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is really cool to see some of the stuff like that, especially some of the teams that don't have a ton of like pro guys. Like I think it's so cool to see that Great Britain or like Team Nicaragua, they have like a plumber from their country struck out Mike Trout. I think that's awesome. But yeah, I think at like the FIFA level, you see everyone like giving every single thing that they have, and like there are some guys who are like playing a little more cautiously for injury and stuff. So like it's really hard to have something perfect. I don't know. You can't even do it in the off season because pitchers are limited with innings and stuff. I think it just screwed up a little with how long the baseball season is, but it's definitely something that's good to have and really good to see with like some of the Latin countries. And I went to the WBC. I saw Israel play
Miami,
Nicaragua.
right?
Yeah, in Miami. And for a noon game, like it was rocking in there. It was crazy. And to see some of like these fans and like how awesome it is for baseball, that was just really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you brought up scheduling a little bit, and I really wish we would shift to less games because I love how college baseball has their format with I think it's like 50 something odd games to play through a season. I feel like that's the perfect amount to keep like viewers engaged throughout the year, and that way you can kind of like manage ticket prices a little better. But another thing about the World Baseball Classic I just wanted to touch on is some of the international rules that don't allow for talent to play within the US. Like if you want to be a Cuban born baseball player, you have to defect from your country. Like we literally had a guy skip his plane ride to stay in the States. Like he was supposed to fly back and was like, I'm going to stay in America and just try to get my visa. Like I just defected from Cuba. Like, okay, like guess you didn't see that one coming, even though it happens every single time they do this. And then another thing, what I think Japan does extremely well to keep their talent homegrown, you are not allowed to sign to a major league ball club until you are 27 years old, I believe. I think that's what you have to be. I think it's once you turn 27 or serve a certain amount of years in the Japanese baseball league, then you're allowed to go for like international signing because they got that guy now who just hit the home run in the championship, Murakami, who hit that like nuke. Dude, last year he's 22 years old last year, bats 361 with 54 home runs. And we can't bring him to the United States. We can't bring him to the US just because he has to play 4 more years over there. And no one would ever know who he was if he didn't play in the World Baseball Classic. So like if you're just able to set up these exhibitions or even like
how is that even allowed, bro? That's so stupid.
No, it's so smart for the Japanese product because they know they can't compete with us market-wise paying their players.
So they're just fucking over their guys.
No, they're keeping them homegrown and earning a boatload of money off how raw they are. And then they're like, oh, how great you were here.
Fucking over the guys, dude.
Have you seen those MPB games, how crazy they get?
Dude, they love baseball in Japan.
I remember,
I'll say that.
I remember during COVID, I was a pizza delivery driver for Russo's Pizza in Clearwater. And because it was like one of the only jobs I could get. And we would just like on a dead day, we would just sit in the empty restaurant. We could do deliveries only. We would sit in the restaurant and just watch the Korean baseball games, and then have like the inflatable people and stuff in the in the stands, dude. And it was honestly pretty lit, dude. It was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they love baseball over there. But honestly, I think it's smart for Japan just because you can't compete, so you might as well like keep guys a little more homegrown. That's why like some of these international signings debuts are so big. Like you think back to when Ichiro first came to the league, like that was a massive signing for the United States. Like just to have probably the one of the greatest Japanese baseball players ever to come over here. He was like the gateway player for players like Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, and then when Shohei came over, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is Jesus on a base. Like this man is literally Jesus." By the way, you could not have storybooked an ending better than Shohei Ohtani versus Mike
Oh,
Trout.
dude, they did it on purpose. They somehow did it. I don't know how, but they did. They did. I promise you. I don't know who they are either, but they did.
Well, I will say this: Major League Baseball is the only sport in America where our government has a stake in the sport. Like we have, the government puts money into the sport.
Yeah, that is
So
crazy.
I don't know why they don't do it for football. I guess because it's America's pastime. Don't want to let it die. Sam, I don't want to get you fired for theorizing over here in the corner.
I'm keeping my mouth shut right here.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's great. Yo, wait. I meant to ask this earlier. We were talking about spring training, and it just came back to me. Who was the guy that didn't swing and went 500?
Oh, the Dodgers kid.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had 500 OBP.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but he
He
was
literally
just
did not swing once.
tracking baseballs, and yeah, it speaks to how hard it is to throw strikes at the major league level, especially with some of these umpires. And yeah, that was kind of a funny story. I saw that a lot of different places,
Do you think
but
his
yeah,
coach was pissed, or what you
he
manager?
was
That's what you call them.
he's the one that made him not swing.
yeah,
He's
that's like a
Oh,
organization
really?
implemented thing.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I think you'd catch on after a couple of bats, like, dude, you like motherfucker, you haven't swung the bat in like 20 games. They're like, do you want to make the pros? Like, do you want to make the pros? Like, if
What
anything,
the fuck are you doing?
yeah, like if anything, I think you would rather go out there and strike out 3 times a game, swinging his heart out every time. But like, no, he's one of their top prospects. They knew he had a hand fracture, but like they understand how hard it
Oh,
is.
see, I didn't go this deep in that water.
Yeah,
I saw a couple videos on
yeah, no, because like
it.
I feel like the hardest thing to do is like to go from like only seeing BP where your guy may be throwing overhand from like 20 feet away to a guy that's throwing 60 feet, 6 inches away with 20 inches of break left to right, 90, 96, 97 mile an hour plus. Like it's not easy to just wake up one morning and be like, yeah, I could do that. Like I could just swing the bat, like maybe a select few, like Mike Trout or Ronald Acuna on any given day. But I mean, dude, it's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure Sam, you can attest to this. There's so much talent in the minor leagues, but politics and branding play such a huge part of whether or not you get called up. I see guys that have phenomenal stats in the minors, but like because they're not like a top 20 prospect, they'll probably never see the light of day. They'll never see the field. There's guys, there was a guy for the Nationals, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, that got called up when he was like 35. Like, dude just stuck to it. Like, dude, you're 36. Relax. Like, find something else at some point. But
Dude, go raise a family, bro. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, like you're earning maybe $5,000 only in season. Like they only.
I thought AAA they made bags.
Yeah,
not
if you're
bags, better money than you do at
Like a living?
dude. I heard stories of guys in single A ball that
Yeah, no, I know single A and double A are ass.
yeah, 20 men packed into one apartment. You're eating PB and J's for 4 weeks straight. You're hopping on school buses for hours, and you're like, yeah, man, I really wish I was back at college. Like, damn, I don't want to do this. But I mean, dude, if you're not top prospect, international signing money, whatever draft like signing bonus you got out of college, like better luck.
What would
Bro.
you say is the average starter AAA player making a year?
Ooh, I gotta look. It depends on if they have any like big league service time. It depends on I guess just salary wise.
If they're on their way up and they haven't touched the MLB yet, but they're
Um,
gross, but they're good.
I don't think that matters as much as just like the level that they're at. Because it's pretty uniform. The AAA level. I would say between like 30 and 50K a year, but don't quote me on that. I have to look.
All right, Zach, write that down. Sam Bennett said 30 to 50K.
I mean, this is the difficulty about baseball you only get paid in season in the minor leagues. You're only getting paid for the games that you're actually present for the season. You're not going to get paid in the off season. On average, you're looking at $700 at best for a AAA player with
this
no
one
MLB service
says
time.
this one says at a minimum of 20K, max 130.
Yeah, but see, that's too big of a range. You got to look at it this way. How long is minor league season? Because I know it's not as long as the 162. It's like
It goes from like now until end of August, early September.
so like what 7 months, somewhere around there, maybe.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 6-7 months, at most $700 a week. So
Yeah, that's what
what?
it said. It said $400 to $700 a week.
Yeah. So at best, as a AAA player, $700 a week for 7 months. That's what 700 times what 7 times 4 is 28. So congrats! The best AAA player is earning $20,000 a year.
Yeah, that's
What are you gonna?
ass.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, but then you have guys who just have like a signing bonus who were taken in the first or second round
And then I
with
made it.
like $2 million. And yeah, they don't care about their minor league salary, but if you are drafted with any like status at all, like you're living off your bonus. And so if you get up to the big leagues, if you ever do.
my I had a family friend of ours, Trey Bacon, who played. He started at the University of Florida and then literally just worked hard enough to where he could get a 5th-round draft selection by the Colorado Rockies, and then his signing bonus was I think like $750,000, and he's just been like investing that and saving that, trying to get through.
Who
Yeah.
was the plant kid in our grade?
Connor
Scott.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's
He touched
two.
a bag. He
There's
touched a
two,
bag.
and I played against both of them. I played against Connor Scott and I played against Kyle Tucker. And when I
Where did Kyle Tucker come from?
plant, nasty
I've never heard of that kid.
dude, he's like they call him King Tuck. How do you know?
What about that Bama kid? I remember I partied with that Bama.
Eric Kennedy from Calvary. He ended up transferring to Texas and was like the fastest kid like
Wait,
ever.
no. Bama kid from Plant. That's who they threw against CDS.
Oh yeah, but I mean, dude, we destroyed Plant. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But when this is actually a funny story. So when I saw Kyle Tucker for the first time, we were playing at the University
He
of
played
Tampa.
at Plant also. He's in our grade.
Yeah.
How the
Or
fuck
no,
have you never heard of him?
no. Great.
No, he's much older than us.
Yeah, much older. He's like 2
Oh,
years.
I'm talking about Yeah, I thought you
You're
meant the
talking to
same
Connor
draft.
Scott.
Yeah, Connor
No,
Scott was
you're
our
talking-
grade.
Yeah. No. Connor Scott ended up getting going fifth pick to the Marlins.
Yeah, he got
He
a
went 13.
bag. 13. You still got a bag.
But this is a funny story. So we figure out we're playing against Plant in the University of Tampa like fall ball tournament. And then we're like, oh my God, like Kyle Tucker's playing on the team. And like half our kids are like stupid because we don't like follow like prospect baseball. And they're like, dude, Kyle Tucker is the #1 player in the entire nation. And we're like, oh, well, let's just glaze this kid some more. Like, let's pull up some stats. And we're like, apparently he's like 80 grade in like all categories. Like, dude's just a phenom. And we're like, oh shit, we got to see this dude play. Like, we got to know how good the top of the top are. We pull up to UT, plants in the batting cages first. We see Kyle Tucker pull up. He goes to the batting cages, sets up the tee. First swings 7 inches under the ball, implodes the tee in half, breaks it, leaves. And we just all look at each other. We're like, this is the #1 draft pick, and he just destroyed a tee and left. He was like, I'm done. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I remember when he came up to the plate, I was playing right field, and he's a left-handed hitter, and he hits bombs. And my coach was like, yeah, back it up. I was literally standing my heels on the warning track at UT. It's like 340 down the line. I'm like, dude, this kid's in high school. Like, do we really have to like fear this kid? He still ended up hitting a double to right field. So I guess it really didn't matter anyway. And then I ended up watching him get drafted like 5th overall. So I guess he really was one of the best players. And now he hit for like 100 RBIs last year and has the nickname King. So I guess it's pretty
just
good.
won the World Series and got paid a bag in arbitration.
Yeah. So shout out Kyle Tucker. Go.
Sam, who's the nastiest kid you ever played with or against?
Been a decent amount. This year, Dylan Cruz is pretty good. He played in the summer league I played in. He's probably going to be the 1-1 this year. He's really good. Some of the A&M arms we saw last year were really good. all the Florida talent, like there's like one-off times of like, oh yeah, like I played that kid or I played this kid, or obviously I played on the same little league team as Connor. So yeah, I've got to grow up seeing him play. Julian's also
Yeah,
like really
Julian's
good.
nasty.
Um, but yeah,
So-
probably Dylan Cruz. That kid could swing. Oh, also Judd Fabian. Judd Fabian's pretty nasty. He
Yeah.
has the fastest hands that I've ever seen, like with a guy that I faced. I remember I put 91 on the black on the inner half, first pitch of the game, and he turned it around like nothing I've ever seen before, and like was fouled by that much. But I was like, holy shit, this kid's hands are legit.
Yeah, dude. My brother, it was funny when he was in high school summer ball, he faced Bobby Witt Jr. and got him down like 1-2. He was like, holy shit, I'm about to strike out Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt just like wrist flipped a double off the wall for me. He's like, this is probably why this kid is like one of the best prospects we've ever seen in our life. I mean, dude, I'm trying to think of like, I remember we played, crap, I think it was like Team Elite out of Georgia. We faced them when, who was the kid that played on the same team as Kumar Rocker, Will Banfield, and then there was another right-handed pitcher that was sitting like 98.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking
Ethan,
about.
it's like Ethan
Ethan
something.
Hankins.
Ethan Hankins, dude. We were scheduled to play them, and Hankins was supposed to pitch against us in summer ball. And bear in mind, our summer ball team was just our high school team that played summer together. But we would go to all these perfect game tournaments. We see that we're playing Team Elite, and Kumar Rocker just pitched the day before. So we looked on the website and it was like, oh, Ethan Hankins projected to pitch against CDS Patriots. And we're like, dude, if we face Ethan Hankins, like we're not going to touch the ball. Like we're fucked. Like it's over. Like we're never going to see the field. Gets rained out. They end the round robin play and we don't get to face them. And then I got mad because I was like, all right, at least I kind of wanted to like see it. Like,
Who was
I
that
wanted to like,
kid? Who was that Stanford kid that they brought into our league just to pitch one inning?
oh my God, I
He
forgot
was
that.
fucking gross, dude. No one
Yeah.
touched it. No one
Yeah.
touched him.
I got to look at their roster, but it's actually funny.
Is
So
it
they
something
flew.
Bruno? Is it Bruno?
Yeah. So I'm
They
gonna look at.
dude, Sam. So me and Zach get to our because we have to get to the game an hour early because it's
Ryan Bruno.
Ryan
It's
Bruno.
Ryan.
So we get there early, and the head of the whole league comes in. He's like, "Hey guys, gotta let you know, you guys need to time and get all this info for this kid today. I need videos. I need everything you fucking got." And we're like, all right, whatever. Like, and then like a shit ton of people come to the game, and no one ever comes to the games. Like it's usually me, Zach, and like a one mom. Like no one goes to the fucking games. The game's packed. Like there's kids from other teams that aren't playing that day there. Like and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And then our coach Sam comes in and tells us, yeah, Ryan Bruno's coming to pitch. They fly this kid out from California because just so we can get film like to send. He strikes out in like one inning, strikes all three of our guys out on like fucking 11 pitches and then leaves. And he throws like 96 and then just dips. Never plays another inning in the entire season. And the front page of the website, the whole rest of the season is just Ryan Bruno.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
funny.
it's funny because like he shows up and I started doing my background research on like this kid's Team USA since he was like 14, still on Team USA up until like the U20 team. So I was like, all right, gotta be pretty nasty. He comes in, he's throwing like 3/4 slot lefty, really, I'd say almost like a Julio Urias type motion, how he has that like kind of funky leg kick and a lot of leg drive. And then Reed Detmer curveball, like just unbelievable, like curveball. I think it was like high 70s, like barely borderline like 78, 79, and then 96 mile an hour fastball. And then would just like show you an 82 mile an hour changeup, like out of nowhere. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't know where they got this kid from. I don't know how much they paid him to come down here.
Yeah, they probably did pay him.
Oh, yeah, because, dude, that looks great for your brand. You're just like, yeah, we had this kid. Oh, that actually reminds me. In high school, we played against Xavier Edwards, the prospect for the Padres. And I'll never forget, he shows up to he played on I forget the name. I forget the team name. It's not a school in our district. It's like
that's the Rays slapdick prospect that got traded for.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's on the Rays now.
No, he got traded
to the Padres.
Yes, yeah. He got traded to the Rays, and we just yes,
yeah.
That was the slapdick prospect that who is it, Blake Snell or something,
Yes.
Tommy Pham said something,
No.
and it got printed on a ton of shirts. But yeah, we got rid of him this offseason.
Damn. Because
Fuck
dude,
'em.
I remember in high school, I'm like looking at him and I'm like Xavier Edwards because I saw him on the roster of the team we played and I was like Xavier Edwards, I've heard this name. Look him up, ends up being the same kid. Grayson, this kid is literally 5'6" with 100-mile-an-hour plus exit velo from both sides of the plate. He hit a ball so hard
Jose
at
Altuve.
yeah, he literally hit a ball so hard at our shortstop that he couldn't even like set like he came set and the ball like found him. Like it just hit him in the chest and like blew him back. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, how do you fit that in that frame? I was like, you don't do that at 5'6". But dude, I feel like I've seen so many kids, especially just in Florida, just have ridiculous talent. Like across that Bruno kid, by the way, Grayson, went to American Heritage. So he's
really?
from Florida as well.
And Tristan Casas went to American Heritage too. He played all weekend against us. He is pretty gross.
By the way,
they're gross in every sport though.
I want to know your opinion on this. How did you feel about him like screaming? Because I'm a Red Sox fan. I know. Trust me. It's been
sucks.
Yeah, it's been rough. How did you feel about Tristan Casas screaming after his 14-pitch AB? I don't know if you saw that today, but he was getting like railed for it. It was so funny.
Dude, that like went over my head. I was like, I did not see that.
Dude, oh my God. People are like losing their mind over it on social media because, first of all, having a pitch. Oh, so Grayson, if you don't know, a quality plate appearance is anything over 5 pitches.
Yeah,
so if you're
he ran the count up.
Yeah, worked a 14-pitch at bat, and then he ends up drawing a walk. And as the ball is crossing the plate, he bat flips and fucking screams at the top of his lungs. And like, yeah, and it's dead silent because like we have a hard time selling at the Trop. We need to move to Tampa, but you just like not like you hear it throughout like so crystal clear through the mic because there's like 14 fans.
What it was packed today. It was actually rocking for a Thursday afternoon.
No, the games have been cool, bro. Some of my friends from FAU just moved down the street. So after my fight, I'm trying to go to hella games because they're so cheap too.
Yeah, just text me. let me know when you want to come. We're trying to fill up the stands.
Hell yeah.
Dude.
But hey, I gotta actually get going here. So Sam, Zach had this idea. Who would you say? Would you say in order, Zach, or not in order?
No, not in order. Just
no order. Your top 5 all-time Rays players.
Oh, top all time. Well, Evan Longoria has to make the list. David Price is on the list.
He was so nasty when he was with the Rays.
Top 5 all time.
Yeah,
like some moments, I want to put Dan Johnson and Brett Phillips in there just for their moments. Like their moments. They were horrible.
Dude, Johnson's a name I haven't heard. So like I thought my names were gonna be out of the blue, but these are kind of crazy.
I mean, remember he tied it up. In game 162. Carl Crawford, BJ
I was about
Upton.
to say, I was about to say.
Some of those guys, but
man, Chris Archer too.
Chris Archer, yeah, that was a fun one with the trade to the Pirates. We got a lot of good players back from that one.
All right, so pick five.
Evan Longoria, David Price. I always loved BJ Upton, like with his flashiness out in the outfield. Some of the catches that he was able to make. I'll put him in my list. Carlos Pena is up there too.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, Carlos Pena in there.
Yeah.
Then one more. There's so many just like fringe guys. Like
I know I'm looking through right now. There's guys I forgot about. I'm like, fuck.
There's so many guys that like you're gonna say, and I'm gonna be like, oh man, like I definitely should have put him in my list. I'm gonna just throw in, Jason Bartlett, Akinori Uemura up the middle.
You just took my top 2 right there. I was literally saving Akinori Uemura. I was saving Bartlett. Dude, I was gonna say Rocco Baldelli, And then I
Rocco
was,
Baldelli too.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, I forgot about him.
dude, Wade Davis when he was there, Gabe Kapler. Like I
Matt
literally,
Garza.
James Shields.
dude,
Matt
James Shields.
Garza.
Dude, Matt Garza threw a a perfect game on my brother's birthday. That's the only reason I will forever remember him.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'll
That's
ever
Matt
funny.
Garza.
He threw a no hitter against the
All right,
Tigers. I remember
here's
that.
some of the names of the big ones: Evan Longoria, Carl Crawford, Carlos Pena, Ben Zobrist,
Ben
James
Zobrist.
Shields, David Price, B.J. Upton, Kevin Kiermaier. Fuck out of here. Scott Kazmir, Aubrey Huff, Julio Lugo, Desmond Jennings, Matt Joyce, Alex
Pretty
Cobb,
sure
Chris
Wade Boggs.
Archer, Fred McGriff, Blake Snell, Jason Bartlett, Rocco Baldelli. Yeah, Rocco Baldelli was a dog. Wade Boggs, Matt Garza, Logan Forsythe. I don't know how to say that.
Forsyth, Logan
All
Forsyth.
right. Also, how do you not put Fred McGriff in there? He's gonna be the first Ray in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Fred McGriff is in here.
yeah, he's in there.
Okay.
Yeah, we skipped over him because I made that comment about Wade Boggs. The only reason I remember Wade Boggs as a Ray is because he was a Red Sox first, and every time I play MLB The Show, I always pull his card. Like he just always ends up on my team for some reason. So I'm like, oh, Wade Boggs, remember that guy? And then I feel like I just like Gabe Kapler just because he's the manager now, and like was such like a mid major league player, like very forgettable guy, and then just like went on to be like a manager for some reason, which like, hey, all the power to you, but just so.
You ever heard the story of Wade Boggs like drinking like 60 beers on a like cross country flight, one of the Rays
Yes.
flights?
Yeah, Sunny Philadelphia did a thing on that.
Yeah, I don't know how many it was. They can't get like a confirmed number, but I heard it was a lot.
And then he
more.
threw a fucking great game or something, right?
No, he's a third baseman.
Yeah.
Oh, he hit. I don't know.
Or
But
he's-
who's the guy that ate acid and threw a freaking?
So
no-hitter?
funny about that. I'm pretty sure it was Doc Gooden you're referring to. My high school baseball coach, who was an assistant, he's on a documentary on Netflix. He's a part of the documentary, and he talks about Doc Gooden throwing on acid against him. And it was so funny because
was that Doc Gooden or was that one of like the Pirate scouts?
Oh, I gotta look it up.
Doc
you guys
Gooden
know
was,
who I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Doc
Yeah, I
Gooden,
know exactly who you're talking
Doc
about.
Gooden was the guy who was on acid, but my coach played for the Pirates and had like multiple time All-Star, like
Doc Ellis.
Doc Ellis.
Doc
sorry.
Ellis.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Right. Why did I put good out of nowhere? But
Dude, I remember I watched an interview with him. He's like, I couldn't see shit, so I just threw it like in a circle as fast as I could, and it was either like right down the middle or nowhere near it.
Yeah. By the way, I will say this: Babe Ruth would never survive in this era, ever. Anyone that ever tries to argue against it, I'm like, dude, this man showed up pissed drunk and smoked cigars. Ted Williams had sex with a prostitute in right field and hit 406. He left to go to the war. He left the MLB to serve in World War II, came back, and still won multiple All-Star awards, or still earned multiple All-Stars. So, was it really that hard? I feel like they were all just throwing like 85, and Babe Ruth was fat, so I can't give him credit.
There's a rumor that I've been seeing some like conspiracies that Babe Ruth was black.
What?
I'm being so serious that he was light skinned black.
Look.
I saw a couple of TikTok conspiracies of people trying to say that he was black.
Look, I've seen The Sandlot. I've seen the vision of Babe Ruth. He was not black. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just saying that.
All right, but hey, on a serious note, Sam, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for taking some time out of your day. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we can, do this again sometime, and hopefully the Rays keep kicking ass. I think we're gonna go 162-0, so that'd be pretty sick.
That would be pretty cool. Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate your time and had a lot of fun talking baseball tonight.
Oh yeah, man.
Zach Watts.
Take it easy.